Boys and girls, good evening, good afternoon. Happy to see you on this beautiful Friday afternoon. It is Friday, right? I've been on vacation. I don't know what day it is, but I know I feel good. Shelton, why the overalls? Why the cowboy hat? Two fantastic reasons. Number one, Foco's bringing you the show today. These are Foco overalls. Number two, I'm back in the saddle, baby. Get up, yeehaw, let's get after it. We got a great show. So excited. Football is back, okay? We're basically in football season at this point. Gonna have a great show talking all things spring camp with our man Cam Parker. Gonna get his thoughts and opinions. Some standout guys. Who's looking beefier? Who's looking exceptional? What standout freshmen are we seeing? Who's gonna be his guy to look out for in this upcoming season? Also, Cam Parker sent us over the interviews of Austin Barber, Tyreek Sapp, Tyler Miles. Gonna go over that a little bit, give us our thoughts and opinions on that. It's going to be awesome. Baseball's happening right now, and Cam Parker's actually leaving the baseball game as they're curb stomping Harvard baseball right now. Boys and girls, smash the like button, subscribe. Happy to see you. We've got a couple of upticks over the last couple of days. I think some people are discovering the show. If you are enjoying it, much appreciated. If you hate it, I don't blame you. Boys and girls, let's get right into it. Cam Parker is here with us. Cam, how you doing, big guy? Good to see you, buddy.
Hey, how about them Gators? 12-0 over Harvard right now. As I to leave. Also, shout out to my roommate for leaving me with his 11-year-old beagle so that he could go to bike week. So I had to leave early anyways to go watch him. So Shelton's timing is unlike anybody else's. It worked out perfectly to be able to join because I had to leave anyway. So it worked out.
Highly blessed and highly favored. I shot him a message, no joke, 40 minutes ago, and he goes, you know what, I think I can make this work. And now here we are looking fantastic as ever. It is bike week this week. The wife and I usually head on down there, get ourselves a steak sandwich from the Iron Horse. So I think this is the last weekend, though, isn't it?
I have no idea. He just said, hey, I'm going to bike week. Watch the dog. I'm not coming back tonight. And I said, well, okay, I'll do it. But, yeah, that was all the heads up I got this afternoon. So but it's okay. I like the dog just enough to take out good care of him.
Probably better than the roommate, honestly. Hell of a roommate, Cam. You can come with me anytime.
He puts up with my my new pit bull puppy, so it works out perfectly.
I've seen that thing beautiful. Matt Larson, love your show, man. You're the GOAT. I don't know if I'm the GOAT, but I appreciate loving the show, man. Well, Cam, I know you're busy. You're doing a lot of great things, man. Hustling and bustling. I do want to talk, obviously. Let's get your thoughts and opinions, man. I know we had spring practice this week. The articles have been flying across the board, and I want to give a shout out. These clips are from everybody. We're talking Zach Alvarez, probably Cam Parker threw in there. I don't know. Nick Marcinko, Zach Goodall. I mean, these guys are out there working. Keith Mayberry, Corey Bennett. I mean, everybody is just pumping out content right now. You guys are crushing it. I think the buzz is once again back in the building, back in the air. And we talked about buzz last year. I think we closed out as with the hype that we talked about for sure. Didn't start off like we thought it would, but definitely closed out. And now we're starting to see this again. And just the talent in Gainesville right now, man. On top of what's going on with Gator basketball, we're happy. We're feeling pretty good.
Yeah, and you can kind of see that confidence, too, with the football team especially. I mean, Tyler Miles talked about it a little bit about you see that carryover in the way that the guys are carrying themselves through workouts. Day one of practice, there's not so much you can take away from that. But, if the strength and conditioning coach is saying good things about that, that's good, too. The big key that Tyler Miles mentioned about that is, obviously, you don't come to Florida to go 8-5. You go to compete for national championships. So now it's, the team's confident. 4-game winning streak to end the year. A lot of those guys are returning, but now it's about taking the next step. Not being complacent, not avoiding the bad start that they had last year. Because, I mean, we were confident going into last year too. We felt pretty good, and then they kind of blow it with losses to Miami and Texas A&M. Now that they have that, I guess, lesson behind them, they put it in the past. They know what to do now, it feels like. They know how to find that balance of confidence, but still wanting to achieve more, still working hard towards their goals. So, all sides point to things looking good. I know it's only one day. I know people are already hitting the panic button over a certain quarterback and his shoulder. But
look, we hate hearing our guy Aiden Warner, our starting quarterback. That's never good news, Cam. That's never good.
Sources are telling me that Aiden Warner can spin it.
Yeah. I do want to talk about DJ Lagway because I want to get your thoughts and opinions. Before we dive into that, though, I do want to talk because you said Tyler Miles said that guys are showing up hungry, right? They're coming to practice, wanting to practice. And that may sound kind of cliche, but I know exactly what he's saying is that, look, these guys, they're excited, they're hungry. There's a difference between being excited and being absolutely driven and focused and making sure, like, again, think about when you go to the gym. All of us have worked out. We'll go through the motions. But when you start feeling good, or maybe you're working towards something, whether it's a race or a show, like if you like to work out or whatever it may be, and you're able to dial in, you're knowing each rep has a purpose and you shut everything out and you're focusing on it's just a different perspective when you're headed in there. And I believe that's what Tyler is saying, that everybody's bringing that energy. And this is something that I kind of alluded to too, that I was really excited. I felt like he made a tremendous amount of progress in a short amount of time last year. And I was really excited to see the carryover going into this year. Now you've got guys that understand what Tyler wants and can mimic that headed into this season. Now, can you give us, again, it's super early, but I want you to give me the Heisman candidate. Who were some guys that you just, you thought they'd be great, that stood out, and the guys that completely knocked you off your rocker? Like, man, I heard it, but I couldn't believe it. I'm beyond shocked at what I'm seeing from this kid right now, 2 days in.
Well, the early winner of camp is obviously Cormani McClain, right? I mean, he is just, first off, you can see it just at practice how much weight he's put on. He's muscular. He looks stronger. And then Tyler Miles had nothing but positive things to say about him. Obviously, Del Torre, I think, was the first one who put out that he had hit the 23-mile-an-hour club. Tyler Miles confirmed that yesterday. And Devin Moore, Tyreek Sapp have all just had nothing but good things to say about him. And again, we all know his story. This is a kid who his recruitment was kind of a nightmare. No one knew what was going on. There was always controversy surrounding it. He goes to Colorado, and there's issues there too. And then he ends up at Florida as a walk-on with a short leash. And then there's issues there too with, being late to meetings, not showing up, being in the doghouse. Obviously, the rumor of him being kicked off the team was proven false. But he's completely turned it around since then. Cormani McClain a year ago is completely different than the Cormani McClain now. He's showing up on time. Devin Moore said that with the injuries in the corner room, he's been a leader for the defensive backs. He has helped Devin Moore coach the young guys. Tyreek Sapp, who's one of his closest friends, has said, I cannot believe this kid's turnaround. He's completely different. He's showing up on time. He's putting in the work. Tyler Miles saying he's a example in the weight room of how you don't lose speed by gaining muscle. You can get faster by putting on 20 pounds of muscle. He did that. He's increased his speed by a mile an hour while putting on 20 pounds. So he was the big winner yesterday, just from all the positive things that people had to say about him. The other one would probably be, if I had to pick a surprise, Jaden Woods was the other one. I didn't get to really watch the edge rushers, but again, Billy even praised him, saying, watch out for this Jaden Woods guy. Tyler Miles even said like Jaden Woods has become a silent leader kind of in the weight room as an early enrollee. I mean, this is his first set of workouts as a college football player, and he's become a guy who's really stepped in, put in the work, and guys who are following after. So I'd say those are my two as far as early winners of spring camp. Cormani McClain had high expectations. We heard kind of good things throughout the silent portion of the workouts, and now we get to see it. He looks really good, and then Jaden Woods has gotten some praise too.
Let's talk Cormani first, and then we'll get into Jaden Woods. Both really excite me. Cormani, like you said, has the potential to be one of the cool stories in college football if and when it does come to a close and he goes on to the league, right? Just kind of this progress that we've seen. Gotta give a lot of credit to not only him for being able to pull himself out of whatever he was battling, whatever he was going through. Again, we've heard the stories of just the struggles that he was having, whether it was be on time, just the lack of focus. The turnaround that we're hearing has been impeccable. And then also there's going to be a huge shout out to Napier if this is able to work out. Like you said, this kid was the number one cornerback coming out of high school 2 years ago. So he's going into his junior year this year, really has and should be a true star guy, a guy ready to take over the reins here. And so all of that cornerback room, that secondary room, I think there's a lot of question marks. The talent we've been saying is there. Devin Moore, if he's able to stay healthy, he looked much, I would say, physically more in shape than he had been. He's usually kind of looked small over the last couple of seasons. He looked a little bigger. And then again, Cormani, we know what he's doing. So if you got those two guys able to really step up and just play elite ball on top of the pressure where hopefully we can get from the defensive line, it'll allow for this younger group to come in and do some great things. So Love hearing that about Cormani. And again, when there were negative things going on him last year, I would say the staff was adamant of saying like there are these things that are happening. I love that they're also now returning the favor and giving him a lot of love when it's expected. And keep in mind, all the work that we're seeing, or the progress, I should say, that we're seeing from Kermani was done at a time when nobody's watching. Done at a time at the, I would say, the quietest part, the part where you feel like you have time to shut down because you just got done through a grueling season. You go to a bowl game, you go on a little bit of a trip. It's Christmas time, it's the holidays. It's easy to get a little to lackadaisical. It's easy to sit back and kind of maybe I'll wait for the summer to rock and roll. No, he turned it on. I don't know what caused the flip, the switch of the flip. Maybe we can talk to old Delator to get him on because I'd love to know what happened to cause the flip the switch. If he doesn't want to talk about it, I don't care either. I'm just happy he flipped it. And then Jaden Woods, again, this is the edge room, obviously, with losing TJ Searcy and Jack Pyburn. People kind of had some concerns, but the things that I brought up, I go, look, you've got to understand that how much a coaching staff is looking, okay, who are we bringing in and who can we go get and versus what we're losing. Jaden Woods was the last pickup from Penn State, 4-star kid, kind of at the end there. I would say a quiet recruit, wasn't one of the splashier ones when it happened, but take a look at his film. You take a look at kind of what he ranked. He was a top 100 player, if I'm not mistaken. And now hearing that he's put on some good weight and is making some impacts early, I love that because again, that's alongside a room I believe is already great with Tyreek Sapp, George Gums, of course, LJ McCray, Cameron James, one of my low key favorites. I think he adds a great factor to that. And now you got Jaden Wood stepping into it. A lot of great things. I love it.
Yeah, and to go back to Cormani, he's also on scholarship now. So you remember he come to Florida as a preferred walk on, where it's
Good point, sir.
you kind of have a leash. You have to earn your scholarship. He's earned it. You can tell the work that he's put in and the trust that Billy and the staff have in him, just on the fact that he was able to earn this scholarship in a time where the NCAA is cutting rosters. They got to get it down to 105. They're still stuck with 85 because of the SEC. So a guy like Kermani kind of at the beginning would be like the odd man out of like, hey, you're a contender to be cut, better get into shape. He's on scholarship now. He's pulled his weight, he's done his job, and now that he's on scholarship, you see him taking that next step where he's really starting to feel like he's going to be a contributor this year. And then Jaden Woods too. I mean, that's obviously that's what you want to hear from early enrollee true freshman. You don't really know what their impact is going to be. You can project in camp, but it very well could end up with he redshirts this year. I thought Amir Jackson was going to play last year. He only played like 2 games. So it very
Good
well
point.
could end up that Jaden redshirts this year, but we're through one portion of the offseason, and Jaden Woods is already being talked about by like 3 or 4 different guys. He's being praised by the head coach on day one. That's a great early sign for someone who could step in right away and take over for Jack Pyburn, take over for Justice Boone, take over for, TJ Searcy, a guy who's just, he's going to learn the ropes, obviously. There's veterans in front of him, but he's doing the things that he's supposed to be doing right now.
Names I think about that had that same kind of hype last year. Jaden Ball was one. We know how that turned out. Now, again, like you said, we give names and they don't always pan out, but that was one that I remember. And Miles Graham, Pup Howard, these were names that people were really excited to see and watch. And obviously they turned out. Now, again, I know you can give me a list of names that we were excited about that didn't necessarily turn out. Like Asa Turner had an injury. Slackman, I don't know if people said they were really excited about Slackman. The hype from Slackman was more so, I think, just his mentality that he brought to the locker room, which I still think was impactful. Nobody really was ever, I would say, hyped about what we saw his production, like what we're saying now. So good stuff there. Offensive line, it's not a big question mark anymore. I think that's probably one of the more comfortable spots. Right tackle, which was a massive conversation last year, which I felt ended up being not the biggest concern. I think Crenshaw stepped in and did a great job once they got things figured out. It was a point of topic for the transfer portal. I was very adamant that I felt that I think we have some guys there that it's time for them to step up. And now we're hearing Bryce Levin is stepping up and in all the right ways. Is that what we're seeing and hearing?
Yeah, and Billy straight up said he's going to be the starting right tackle for now. That's where he's working. He's working with the ones.
Wow.
Again, group where, let's be honest, it's probably the best position group on the team right now between experience and production. That's just the way it is. You got American.
Look at us. Who would have thought? look at us.
Who would have thought? But I mean, you got an All-American leading the way in Jake Slaughter. Austin Barber has started for almost 4 years now. I know that Najee Harris maybe didn't have the strongest sophomore season like people thought he would, but
Sure.
he's still a pretty good SEC guard. And the growth that Damian George had in that position change, and Bryce Lovett too held up his own when he was thrust into the fire at the end of the season. So it's not like you're just putting a guy in at right tackle and hoping for the best. They got to see what he's capable of last year. Now he's got to take that next step where, hey, now I'm actually a full-time starter. There's no question about it. This is my spot to lose. I got to pick up production. And, I think it was Austin Barber talked about he looks more like a tackle. He's slimmed down a bit. They've got him leaner. He's still quick with his feet. He's doing a good job. And they also have depth at the position finally. I remember 2 years ago they had nobody. You know what I mean? They were throwing in transfers from FIU and walk-ons and whatnot to protect Graham Mertz in 2023. We're going into 2025, and they've got Tavares Dice ready to step in. Fletcher Westfall after developing as a redshirt freshman.
Roger
Um,
Kearney,
Rod
Caden
Kearney has been getting
Jones,
at right guard.
Jason
Jake Slaughter's.
Zamandela.
I mean, they got so many guys, and just to point out Rod Kearney, Jake Slaughter loves that guy too. Told us yesterday that he loves lining up with him at right guard because he's not afraid to kind of put his weight into a guy and push him off, and super aggressive, and he's gotten more confident. So it's hard to believe we're having this conversation about the offensive line after just the disaster from 2 years ago. But they've really turned it around. They're developing guys. I was surprised that they didn't get a guy in the portal just because they've done that the last 2 or 3 years. But that also shows the confidence that they have in Bryce Lovett to step in. And it's like we talked about, like you don't recruit high school players just to let them transfer eventually, or you don't recruit high school players to not play them. They need these guys to step up, and signs
Agreed.
point to them being step up.
That's exactly what I said. So you can't just keep, stacking this talent. There's those guys. It's time for them to play. Trav Tim Buck says Cam looks like he shouldn't be allowed around bombs.
Oh, Lord.
I love it. That was also his 20th super chat, man. Thank you for the love, Trav. As always, man. Good to see you, man. I think. Look, I don't know if it's just because it's football or what have you, but hearing the hype around the offensive line is very exciting. Josh Pate even said he said his words verbatim. If Florida has Tennessee's schedule, we have them favored to win the SEC championship. You're bringing back not only an experienced offensive line with over 5,000 snaps, but a top tier line. You got an All-American there, Jake Slaughter. Also, Austin Barber has showed glimpses of to being. I love Austin Barber. Again, Najee Harris may have not had the most explosive sophomore season, but a great, still a solid SEC guard. And then Damian George. I'm taking my flowers. Stephen Harris and I were hard and heavy on him doing great things at that right guard position. The times that he did 2 years ago, did play that guard, he looked great. And glad that we're able to get him back and keep him contained. And then, of course, just the depth there. But then he goes the offensive line. And then, of course, you bring back Jaden Ball and DJ Lagway, who are two true freshmen that just showed you some exciting glimpses. Not to mention, don't even get a starter. Vernell Brown is turning heads and getting people fired up. I would say similar to what Eugene Wilson was doing when he came into the mold. So we'll hear this. Vernell Brown is one of the names I think we won't, unless something injury-wise. I just think the talent there is really, really deep, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be Sutervit and Eugene. In that third spot, you've got Mizell. I think Wilson's going to give some throws at it. Khalil Jackson, I know people give me some flack, but he's coming back for his 5th year, I believe, as well, too. So a lot of talent for that third role. Tank Hawkins, Abrams. I mean, that's where we're looking at right now. So we'll see. I'm sure we'll see a lot of these guys. I hope so. But a lot of good things in that offensive side of the room. And Hayden Hanson's put on some weight in the right ways, too.
Yeah, and going to the offensive line, I know when Billy released the injury stuff, people panicked, and just because of the amount of guys that he listed, and then also with DJ being on the list, the offensive line doesn't have any. That's something too that we've been missing with Austin Barber's battled injuries in his career. Damian George missed the bowl game, I believe, and he missed most of the FSU game. That's just they've had injuries there. Now you go into spring, everyone's pretty much healthy, and you're in the non-contact portion right now where you can really get good reps in with low risk. But the fact that they're healthy is enough to be confident in them too. That they put in the work, they've stayed healthy, they've gotten stronger, and it's probably the healthiest group on the team too, considering everything going on. So, that's a big deal. And then obviously the receivers, the depth too. Vernell Brown looked really good yesterday route running. You see the speed. I mean, J. Michael Sturdivant and Dallas Wilson are massive. They are massive dudes who you could probably have them play tight end if you wanted them to. Like they are huge. J. Michael Sturdivant runs 23 miles an hour. Okay. Dallas Wilson probably is not that far behind. Like, just speed demons. You know, speed and space wins championships. This country was founded on speed and space, and those guys with the size, but also the agility that they bring, similar to Cormani. You don't necessarily always lose speed by gaining muscle. You can keep your speed and still get stronger. And the receiver room, too, is a really good example of that.
Two more questions, and then we'll let you rip. I want to dive into the DJ stuff. But Dallas Wilson, obviously, we've seen some talent at the wide receiver room come through this. How does Dallas stack up to the room currently to get some guys like maybe like a Badger, some guys that have had success on this offense? I guess is what I'm alluding to. How does he look just 2 days in so far?
I mean, it's hard to take away too much from a 15-minute open practice.
I want lies, Cam. I want you to tell me that he's going to be the next.
He's working in the early reps. Like, when they line up, you usually can tell they do like veterans and scholarship players and whatnot. They get the first reps, and then you go to like the freshmen and walk on. So he was catching passes from Harrison Bailey and Aiden Warner yesterday. And Harrison Bailey and Aiden Warner were taking the first 2 reps because DJ's injured right now. He's going to play. There's no question about him. He's going to play this year. I think the question is who starts, him or Mizell potentially, him or J. Michael potentially, but he's going to be in the rotation. You know, they're going to put him in early. You can't just leave a guy like that off the field. As far as production, it's obviously going to be hard to predict for a true freshman. I know it's lying season, and I'm trying not to get ahead of myself, but he looked good yesterday. He doesn't look like a freshman. He looks like a senior the way he's built. So I'm excited to see him. Obviously, his recruiting process was just it was interesting. It was tough to follow at times. Still on campus, and he's putting in the work, and they got good things to say about him. Looks big, looks strong, looks fast. I can't wait to see him on August 30th against Long Island, man. I think he's going to be a really good one for Florida.
Harrison Bailey is a transfer quarterback from Louisville, Trav. Thanks for not paying attention. Look, this is a massive comparison here, but Jeremiah Smith, I know. Look, I'm not saying, but they're in the same category. Jeremiah Smith is the number 1 player in the country, I know. Dallas Wilson at one point was the number 2, and then obviously he didn't play in the number game, dropped down a little bit, but was the number 2 wide receiver behind the kid that DeCorian Moore this past year. He's looked like he's put on some size. Very similar to what Jeremiah Smith did when he came in through Ohio State's training and just turned a lot of heads. So seems that he could fall into that category very quickly. Again, Jeremiah Smith, it's hard to me, that's the guy now where you would look for of comparing freshman wide receivers coming in. That is the level that you want to strive for. I don't know if anyone's going to be able to attain that. I think what we saw last year was something out of a movie with Jeremiah Smith. Incredible player. Everyone thinks he's going to be the best player in college football next year, and I have a hard time disagreeing with him. He was so fun to watch. We'll see how it pans out. But again, just seeing the size that Dallas has put on just from 3 months ago till now is exciting to me. The speed being there, and just like you even said, playing first reps. Hopefully we'll get some more aggressive clips from him and hopefully catching some balls from DJ Lagway. Speaking of DJ Lagway, you're aware of the drama that ensued. I spoke to it yesterday. I know that Dave was talking to you about it. We're kind of trying to do our picking our things. Zach Goodall tweeted out, which is kind of put a lot of, I believe, his entire rant to bed because my Mark, what's his name? Mark Long said that he wasn't injured last year, which was false. There was definitely reports that he was dealing with shoulder injury. You were there. You were at the presser. He kind of left. He came back and kind of spun it up. What's your perspective on it? Let's get a sound bite from you on the DJ Lagway shoulder situation.
Immediate thoughts. It's not as concerning as people want it to be, or as people are making it out to be. He did have a shoulder discomfort, I would say, last year. It was why he was limited in the Miami game. And even in Stanford, he had some discomfort too, but he played through it and he played fine. He's still participating in practice in some capacities. We just don't get to see it during the open period, but it's not like his shoulder is drooping and he's in a sling and he can't do anything. He's doing simulated throws behind the other quarterbacks. So he's with his position group behind everyone, going through the same motions that they're going through. He just doesn't have a football in his hands. But I understand why people want to hit the panic button, because this team kind of lives and dies with DJ Lagway running the show. We saw that last year, and it kind of feels like the same way this year. So I get why people hit the panic button. Um, Billy did not sound too concerned, I would say, in the presser. There's a difference between looking at the words that he said versus how he said them, and he didn't sound too concerned. Like, it's right now, they're just playing it safe. There's absolutely no reason to risk injury for your star quarterback in
in March.
spring. Yeah, there's just no reason to. If
So
this was something that's going on in fall camp, maybe I would panic. But it's the first day of spring camp. They got 14 more practices and a spring game. Let's not hit the panic button about this too soon. The other thing I want to point out too is we don't know the severity of the injury. We know he did not have surgery. So if anyone's out there thinking he got surgery, Billy straight up said he did not have surgery. This does seem to be a kind of injury that I don't know if it happened in the offseason or they discovered it in the offseason, but Billy talked about their process for postseason injuries with players. If a player has a nagging injury that they were playing through, they're going to attack it very early on in the offseason so that they can get it over with. That's why Dijon Johnson had surgery. That's why Sharif Denson had surgery. That's why Pup Howard is kind of still limited, because he's still coming off of an injury too. A lot of those guys that are injured had either lingering injuries from the season, or they had a minor thing happen in the postseason that they're taking care of right now so that they don't have to worry about it in fall camp. So I'm not hitting the panic button about DJ whatsoever right now. I think it's far too early to do that. If this comes back around in fall camp, then it'll be time to maybe go, okay, this is a big issue and it's going to hurt Florida this year. I'm not going to do that right now because it's day two. It's day two.
so nothing fishy going on in Gainesville.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything fishy.
Mm.
You know, to say that DJ wasn't injured last year, it's incorrect because he did have a shoulder discomfort thing. But I don't think that there's anything super, super fishy about it. You know, he had some discomfort. He didn't need surgery. Yeah, they're going through UF health and getting second opinions and whatnot. I more equate that to they're doing their due diligence while they can and while they have time, versus just rushing into something that could potentially pan out worse.
I also
You
imagine
have
you're
you have time to get this figured out. Why wouldn't you go get a second opinion on your star quarterback just to do your due diligence and make sure he's fully healthy by the fall? None of this is a surprise to me. I'm not panicked. You know, if this comes around in fall, then maybe it's time to freak out, but let's all calm down for the time being.
I'm sure come we'll have a presser sometime, hopefully in April, and say, yeah, he's good to go. I don't know why you guys are worried, and then this will be something we laugh about. But Cam, pleasure as always, man. This was great. This was a great conversation. So much fun. Glad that you were able to hop on here and be ready to rock and roll at Cam Parker 25. Guys, go give the man a follow. Turn on the bell. He has been cranking out some fantastic articles, and a shout out to you allowing us to get those transcripts so we can be in tune while we're on vacation and do write ups ourselves. So Cam's incredible, guys. I love this guy to death. Um, and love for the clarification on DJ Lagway. I had my personal opinions about it yesterday, but I think it's good to get multiple sides of this, and I think we're clipping it up. We're gonna put it on a cute little thumbnail with a little soundbite at the bottom. We're gonna do the best we can to get the Cam Parker word out there, boys and girls, and get that stash rolling. You feel me? But
I appreciate it. Listen, I've done so much on High Top between having to deal with my cat knocking crap over in the background, doing smelling salts on a live show, the Travis Tritt night on High Top comparison. So it's nice to be recognized for my actual journalism work for the first time since I've talked to you. We're making progress. We're becoming professional. It feels like we're really putting that degree to use. So I'm glad to share it with you.
we're making moves, making waves. So I appreciate it, man. Cam, it's been a blast, man. As always, it's great talking to you. I'm sure we'll have you back on plenty of times as the weeks continue, man. But be good, be safe. Cam Parker 25 boys on X. And where else can they find the articles? They want to be able to read it if they're not following you on Twitter.
Yeah, on Florida Gators on SI, so the Florida Gators page on Sports Illustrated, at Gators Illust, so GATORILLUST on Twitter. We've got a fantastic team over there, so I can't take all the credit. A couple UF grads. Harrison Smadjevich does a lot of work with SI too. Kyle Lander, he's been taking great pictures of baseball games and basketball games. He'll be out there tomorrow morning for football practice with me. So we'll get some photos on the site as well. Our PFF's favorite nerd, Dylan Olive, high top alum, legend. He's been doing some good stuff for our site too, helping out. And then we got another guy in Tyler Carmona who does good work too for us. So we've got a fantastic team. Appreciate the support as always. And, it's going to be a hell of a spring if anything keeps up the way it is right now.
He's like our greatest accomplishment, Dylan. We just like to take full credit of that. You know what I mean? So that's like our.
Hey,
Like
he started a PFF beef his second week with us. So he's making headways. He's making names. He's creating content. I'm proud of him. He's getting us views. It feels good to have Dylan Olive on our team right now.
Kid's good. Look, he came from a good place. He understands what it takes to get to the top. So I love it. Shout out to you guys. You guys are killing it.
I'm making a name on High Top. Dylan Olive is doing it. So any young journalists out there, man, get in touch with Shelton. He'll put you on the spot, man.
Fair enough. I saw. I was gonna hit her up. I saw a young lady. She's a new face that I saw. She was at the practice. I go, here we go. We got some new blood here. Let's see if we can get her on. So I love talking to everybody. I think everyone has a different perspective, and obviously you can't see everything at practice. So I'm reaching out to your old buddy Zach. I know he's on the enemy's team now, but he hasn't come on the show since he's been back. The guy's just too good for us now. We get him on like Letterman and like Jaguars, and he just like doesn't even talk to us anymore. So love to if he still talks to you, tell him we miss him. I don't know, he doesn't like to talk to me anymore.
I think he'll be out there tomorrow. I'll chew him out for you. I'll put him in his spot.
Thank you. Don't tell him. Don't forget where you came from, Zach.
Oh man,
Right,
I will say that it's good to have him back on the beat, man. Zach's a great dude. So
we are spoiled as Gator fans. Spoiled.
As someone who he gave me my internship when I started out writing on SI, I had a big hole in my heart during this entire season that he didn't get to experience a winning season for Billy Napier. So it's maybe it's him. We'll see this year, but it's good to have him back too.
Yeah, if we fall off, he needs to go. It's 100%. I don't know. Okay, we go, Bo.
All right, thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Boys and girls, Cam Parker there. Shout out to that man. He's absolutely fantastic at what he does. We're going to follow at Cam Parker 25. Boys and girls, you see the overalls. You see how good I look. You could look this good too. If you go to FOCO, link is in the description. Go check out the link. If anything, just go look around. Go figure out what's going on. Use the link down below. If you like something, use code HIGHTOP15 to get 15% off. You can't get anything 15% off on pre-order things that are not currently in stock, or things that are currently discounted at a newer rate. You can't use it for that, but anything else you should be good to go on. They've got these fantastic overalls. They've got captain hats, glasses, bobblehead like this one right here. A lot of awesome gear, and we're actually going to do a giveaway here at High Top Sports. When you use code HIGHTOP15 and buy whatever it may be, I'm pumping the overalls. I got the long ones. They've got short ones. I want to get us an entire row of overalls for the spring game with cowboy hats, if possible. You order something, you send me a photo of what you're wearing. Whoever looks the best, whatever you got will win this bag also from FOCO. So use the link down in the description, High Top 15 to get 15% off. Go check it out. Just go scour around. A lot of fantastic. They got all kinds of, not even Gator stuff. You got NFL teams you want to go look at too. They've got that, baseball, all that good stuff. So again, FOCO, check them out. We're pumped to be partnered with them. We're going to a fantastic, fun brand that embodies, I believe, what us fans embody when we're following Gator football, to say the least. We've been talking a lot recruiting, man. We're heating up. 3 commits thus far. The number 1 linebacker, Isaiah Williams, committed yesterday. We went live for that. That was a great time. Also, our guy, Cody the Professor, dropped a full breakdown, much bigger breakdown, better breakdown than what I did yesterday on the High Top Sports recruiting channel. So if you really want to get to know our guys, Cody does a fantastic job. He's balls deep right now in the NFL draft work. He gave me his top 4 quarterbacks heading into this year. Disagree with him, but the guy does a great job and did a fantastic job last year. We'll have, obviously, our NFL draft show this year coming up in April, which is always a good time. But in regards to recruiting, we got Braylon Womack, I believe is how it's pronounced, the number 1 safety in the country right now. I believe he's currently committed to A&M, or was at one point anyways. Florida making some moves. Number 1 reason, according to Corey Bender over on 3, is Coach Vinny. You know what I mean? Coach Vinny from the Jersey Shore turned some heads there. So love hearing that Coach Vinny, guy who just touch ground, is already making moves and allowing us to be in the conversation for the number one safety in the country. Could we get two number one players? I don't know. You got Isaiah Williams number one. Could you get Womack, who would be the number two? Obviously, Will Griffin. I don't believe that he'll trickle into that number one quarterback position, but again, it's still a top quarterback from this class. So a lot of great things. We're hearing a lot of fantastic buzz in regards to the offensive line recruiting as well. I'm going to read a couple of things as well from Tyreek Sapp, Tyler Miles, and Austin Barber. Austin Barber was talking about great things from DeCoster, which I loved hearing. Again, not a lot from sale, but what DeCoster has brought in from a recruiting standpoint, we've been talking about that, but what he's also brought in from a development standpoint as well. Barber was giving him some credit. So I do want to talk about that from him. So again, love just hearing the fact that we're in this conversation and now we have an official visit set up. I believe he's already visited, but it was not an official visit, but we are having an official visit with him May 30th. I do know I've seen some bigger names on that June 6th weekend. So we'll see where he lines up and what, big recruits will be alongside Womack once it gets a little bit closer. Again, that's still some ways away. And I'm sure that the spring game will have some excitement as well, too. And don't forget, we still have that crystal ball for that number 2 wide receiver as well. Not number 1, but number 2, in Naheem Burrow. So a lot of the top position groups are eyeing Florida. That excites me. I can't remember the last time we had that many number 1 players eyeing Florida. Typically, when you see the number 1 player, it's got an Alabama or a Georgia logo next to it. Okay? So it just feels different. I know I said this last year. I was beating this drum last year, and I believed it then, and I believe it now. And it's not me just talking lies and all these spring football stuff. I believe that what we felt and preached last year showed up in the back half of the season, and I believe that momentum could carry over, and now we're seeing it. So a lot of great things. Baseball's doing well. Basketball. Some people commented on the show last night and said, "Hey, you should talk more about basketball." We've talked about basketball in every We have a show every Saturday night talking just Gator basketball. So I don't know who should be more upset, you for me not talking about it, or me at you for not watching enough of the shows. I'm blaming that on you guys. We have been talking about it. We've been following it very closely, giving you great feedback, writing articles galore about it. We've been all over it here at High Top Sports, boys and girls. We have been covering it. Baseball, I have not dove into just yet. A lot of sports, boys. I'm one dude, okay? And we know Dave, when we try to ask him to go outside of football, it's like asking a toddler to take a poop. It's not going to happen, all right? He's not going to poop on the toilet the first time. It's going to take him some time to get used to it. So, we love you, boys. Almost 300 strong this beautiful Friday afternoon. I love that you guys are all tuned in on a non-scheduled show. It means a lot to me, so thank you for that. Make sure you smash the like button and subscribe. Sheldon, you ready to fill out your bracket soon? You're going to up the prizes for best bracket this year. I usually do 250, Muddy. Is that not enough? I usually do a 250. We will be doing a March Madness bracket, of course, as we always do every year. It's tradition here at High Top Sports. Probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite tradition that we do here with High Top Sports. So yes, we will be doing a bracket, and there will be some prizes. If it's sponsored by Rookie, it probably would be a lot higher. Speaking of Rookie, our sponsor, $2 here. I might be in town for those spring games. Let's go, Rookie. You know what I'll do? I'll reach out to FOCO and see if they want to sponsor the bracket. If they want to sponsor the show, maybe they can do something cool for us. Maybe we can give a gift card and plus 250 or something like that. I think that would be really cool. High Top Sports March Madness brought to you by FOCO. That would be sick. I'll see what I can do. Let's utilize our resources here, boys and girls. So good stuff on that. And then I want to kind of just go over a few things. First of all, Zach Alberverdi on 3. This footage is on YouTube. They always kind of post clips. Love seeing the creativity amplify. The cinematic views outside of just, and not to hate on beforehand, people just go out there with cell phones, and not everybody has the ability or know how. I'm not hating on it. I just appreciate it when it's done well, and not everybody may not see this. The quality that this is shot, and he's probably using some sort of gimbal. Love it. I love the cinematic feel. Just to get these kind of clips from a practice is absolutely fantastic. The boys knows what they're doing. Great work. I believe Zach shot it. If not, it's from the On3 team. Those guys are doing a great job over there, crushing it. Hope to maybe get either Keith or some of those guys on later this week as well to pick their brains. Again, I want to get everyone's perspective on it because everyone sees different things. I spoke with somebody about one of the spring games, Nick Marcinko. Then Keith was also there, and he had a different perspective and thoughts. Like, these guys see things differently, and they've been doing it longer, so their perspective is different. It's all great. And somebody think, oh, it's negative. No. everyone just is, when you've been doing it for a very long time, you don't get as high and low as us youngins do sometimes. So it's great to hear from everybody. But huge shout out to Alvin Brody for this content, man. This is just, we're spoiled. I keep saying it, but we are. We really are. Let's go over a few things. I don't know if you guys I don't think the speech or press conferences from these players were out. I haven't seen them. I just was able to get the written version. I got a little summary from this here. So let's talk about from what Tyler Miles said about strength and conditioning. He said, look, the program is more player-led this time with veterans stepping up through the workouts. We heard Cam Parker allude to that a little bit. Players like Cormani McClain have made a significant physical and mental strides, gaining 20 pounds while increasing speed. We know that already. Eugene Wilson has been carefully progressing through his hip surgery, emphasizing durability and proper conditioning. Michael Sturdivant and Dallas Wilson have made impressive gains, with Sturdivant adding 15 pounds. Hayden Hansen also improved his athleticism and nutrition, reaching peak weight and speed. Several players, including Michael Caraway, transfer cornerback, and transfer edge Kofi Asari, have made significant strength and conditioning gains as well. All names that I'm excited to hear about and love hearing as well. Michael Borrow has continued his impressive weight transformation. Steven Shivers is working on selling in. That may not be as a positive look, but making progress. Jake Slaughter, Jacoby Jackson, Graham Childs have emerged as tone setters in the weight room. Love that. All those guys, Jacoby Jackson, veteran running back, Jake Slaughter, the man, carrying that O-line, and Miles Graham, sophomore, but carrying and acting as a leader. And we've interviewed him. He's been on the show. The way that he carries himself, the way that he embodies it, he carried that leadership mentality. And we talked about when he committed to the Florida Gators. It committed to the Gators when nobody else was there. That was kind of, he even said, like, my first call of, like, I want to be a leader. I want to be a leader of this group. I want to be a leader of this class and eventually a leader for this team. And I'm going to start by committing to this team and sticking with them through the entire way. Seeing him back that up just over a year and a half later, incredible. Love just watching that follow through. Let's talk about Sapp. Sapp says he highlighted George Gumbs as a breakout candidate, praising the athleticism and potential to take his game to another level this season. Obviously, we had George Gumbs on the show. Favorite of mine. Love him to death. Love him even more now that we get to talk to him. The guy is absolutely incredible. Just the reaction from the fans and the comments was so genuine and so awesome too. Like, it was cool that you guys felt the same way that I did by interviewing him, and just to kind of, a silent killer was a lot of the bases that people were saying. Spoke very highly of Vernell Brown's football IQ and Cormani McClain's natural ability at cornerback, calling him dangerous. So again, we've seen what Cormani has been able to do of just the raw talent. We saw it last year a little bit. We saw glimpses of it at Colorado if you watched. That's what's so dangerous about it, is because this guy was basically operating at half speed because he was just so good his entire high school career. He didn't need to put in the extra effort. He didn't need to go put in everything else. Got a reality check and goes, okay, if I could turn this on, I'm a first rounder. Genuinely. Sit on that a little bit. A big one here. We asked George Gumbs about it. Tyreek Sapp said, no more number one jerseys on defense. He believes it removes entitlement and emphasizes team play over individual recognition. I don't hate it. I love it. I love the mentality. Look, as a leader, I think, it's probably was going to go to him. He probably had the call. And I wonder if they're like, Sapp, you want to wear it? If not, we'll go ask somebody else. I wonder if he kind of said, hey, I think we should kill it. I don't like what it does. I think about what he's watched, right? I can't remember who had it before Princely, but I know it went to Princely. Then it went to Justice Boone. Both that wore it, didn't necessarily have the best seasons at Florida. And whether it, and he talked about he was sad that Boone left, but maybe there's again a sense of entitlement. He kind of saw what it did to his two friends of maybe they took some steps off because they felt that they made it because they earned that jersey as they did. But not everybody can handle that. It's like, look, we haven't earned anything yet. You weren't here to earn a number. We're here to win championships. And if that number is going to distract people, let's just get rid of it. I love it. I love the mindset. Oh, Britton Cox. Thank you, Muddy. Yeah. We know how that ended up. So the last three number ones have been not great. Britton Cox was dismissed from the team. Brinsley had a very buzzkill of a season, and Justice Boone essentially lost his job. That was the trait of the last three number ones. All three coming in with an extreme amount of hype. So I'm not saying if the number one is what killed things, but it's more of a mindset of what comes along with it. So Barber says, Austin Barber, young players like Westfall and Kane Jones have impressed by seeking advice from veterans, showing strong work ethic and commitment. John DeCoster has brought valuable NFL techniques, particularly in pass protection, while also keeping things light with his humor. His off-season focus has been staying healthy, getting stronger, and refining technique through film study. Bryce Lovett has emerged as a confident starting right tackle, benefiting from Coach Miles' strength program. So all good things circling there. And also what I love, too, is that, again, we had a lot of question marks in the offensive line last year. A lot of what ifs, a lot of who's going to be where. There is no question marks there. I think there are going to be some question marks that we hear that will surface up on the defensive line, with Jamar Lyons coming back from injury, with Michael Borer stepping up, with the cornerback play, but it sounds like Cormani's kind of stepping into it. The safety one's going to be an interesting one, but we're hearing great things from Gregory Smith heading into his sophomore year. Would love for Jordan Castell heading into his junior year to get back to what we saw his freshman year. So, I don't know, man. I feel like I'm back here again, boys. I'm back here again with getting down this slippery slope of Lions season. But that's the name of the game, boys. That's what we do. That's why we tune in on Friday night on March. Okay? We're also going to be tuning in to talk about basketball. Tomorrow, obviously, Florida plays Ole Miss. Florida is locking in a number 1 seed at the moment with the loss of Tennessee to Ole Miss on Wednesday night. Big loss there for Tennessee. I believe Florida closes out Ole Miss. It's all opinion based, but I believe they close out Ole Miss in a very strong, dominant way. They've got to lock in, regardless of how the SEC tournament plays out. That's my opinion on it. We're gonna have a show tomorrow. Cody and I will hop on. We'll talk about that. Maybe a few other things will pop off in that meantime. There has been we went from having nothing to a plethora of information in the last 48 hours. Talking about from DJ Lagway, it's been great. I'm loving it. I'm loving every minute of it, having a great time. Hope you guys are enjoying it as well, too. 300 strong leads me to believe that you guys are enjoying it. Not 100 likes makes me seem that maybe you're just having so much fun you forgot to hit it, and I'll take it as that. Boys and girls, good to see you as always. Happy Friday. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm working on setting up a show on Sunday. Of course, Lewis Murphy will be on the show on Monday. Boys, I know it's March, but all we do is deliver. We're here to have a good time. We're here to chit-chat. And then before you know, we're in the SEC tournament for basketball. So we're not going anywhere. Turn the bell on. Sit back, relax. Go get yourself some FOCO gear with the link in the description. Let's be overalls out for the next 2 months. Let's not even take them off. From the March Madness to the spring game. Let's have some fun. Y'all be good. I'll see you on the next one. Peace and love, baby.